Yo, what's up guys? It's Genxiety here and welcome back to another video, and today we'll be talking about why Gen Z is the loneliest generation out of all the generations we could think of. Now, according to a Forbes article, indeed 73% of Gen Z report of feeling alone like sometimes or always. Additionally, loneliness can be damaging to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes per day, and people who experience social isolation have a 32% higher risk of early death. Now, when I read this, I felt like I was slowly dying as well. I was so lonely in my life, like for the past couple of 2 years, because I was in community college, and it's the worst feeling in your life to not be around with people that you love and without a person to talk with. So most of the time I find myself just talking with online friends and keep it at that. But it wasn't very sustainable, and eventually my mental health started to break down. So this topic is really personal to me, as this is something that I want to talk about. Now, according to Ballard Brief, it's an academia website, and according to them by Abby Bowler, she basically states that isolation among Gen Z in the United States are experiencing higher rates of loneliness than other generations. Generation Z is the loneliest generation the world has ever seen, with isolation rates higher than both millennials and members of Generation X. This is shocking information because it feels like we are going to a society that is now in a downfall. We're now seeing rates of mental health illness that is going and rising up to this day, and we have nothing to do about it except for just praying that people are going to do well on their own by just living this society. And in this case, I don't believe that's the case. We got to do something about this, and something needs to be changed in our society in order to make Gen Z less lonely and more happier. So how do we even get here? And why is it that the most connected generation like Gen Z feels so alone, yet we have internet access, we got Discord, and we have social media to talk to our friends, family, and other people in our lives? I find this topic relevant today in our society as a fellow Gen Zer because it hits home for me. Like I said, I was very alone in my community college experience, and I had no one to talk to, and it really is something that I really just hate feeling about, just feeling alone. So today I want to change that narrative and have an open discussion about loneliness and how to fix it. So to introduce myself, my name is Danny, and I'm a psychology student with an associate's degree and pursuing to become a clinical psychologist in the future. The purpose of this video is purely entertainment and educational to inform why Gen Z are lonely. So it would mean a lot to me if you guys leave a like and comment down below for your feedback, as I'm always reading the comments so I can make higher quality videos. Nevertheless, I'm excited, and let's get to understanding Gen Z's social context. So who are Gen Z? So Gen Z, in plain terms, is roughly born around 1997 to 2012. The defining factors of Gen Z is that we're always exposed to technology. So no matter what we're at, we will always bring our phones with us and just constantly scroll until we get this dopamine hit that makes us feel happy and pleasurable, I guess. Because of that, we are always never going outside, never touching grass, never understanding people's actual feelings, because we're always on an online presence without even taking a break, and it's absolutely concerning. I would say we also grow up in a time of global crisis such as climate change and the COVID pandemic. Now, if you guys agree with me that the COVID pandemic has made us way worse than we are today, because we're now using our phones to feel more pleasurable, because this dopamine hit hits way harder than talking to people, like to a single person. And it's because technology is more convenient now. Phones are more accessible instead of human beings when we're talking to them in person. And additionally, we're facing an economic pressure from our society. And my reason of that is probably because of the population increase. As you guys know, there's like 7 billion people on Earth, and the population is increasingly rising year by year and decade by decade. And because of that, we won't be able to afford grocery prices anymore, since eggs are now costing like $10 or more than that. And additionally, housing prices has increased dramatically to like $100,000 to $200,000 where I live, or even more than that, to $300,000. And additionally, like college degrees are now costing like almost 6 figures to get because of how dumb education funding is. So this is going to go to my second point, in which we look at the core reasons behind loneliness. And to start off, I'm going to talk about digital connection replacing human interaction. So overall, we've been seeing a lot of overuse in social media, which leads to superficial interactions and increasing parasocial relationships. And because of that, we're now less seeing people going outside to socialize to other people. And now we're seeing people staying at home and just enjoying watching YouTube, watching streams like Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. And it's overall not a good thing that we're doing unless you have like a balanced work or school life. Now, I'm not here to shame if you do watch YouTube or TikTok reels, because I do that as well. And it's not an issue unless you do have like a balance, like I said in my last previous statement. So if you do have a balanced schedule, which in most cases, not everyone does have a balance of watching, YouTube content. So I would highly, highly recommend if you balance what you're doing with your life. So because of overuse of social media and screen usage, we're now seeing less face-to-face communication from other people. And additionally, social media has created this dynamic where we see less connection in using social media and more comparison. And I'm a victim to this because I always see myself as the main character in social media, right? As anyone would. And when we compare people that has, went to Japan, went to Brazil, went to other different countries, or studying to become a doctor, has a doctor's degree, or a lot of things that we compare ourselves makes us self-sabotage what we are as a person. And that leads to my other point, where we have mental health struggles as the core reason why we are lonely, because we don't want to tell our people, our friends and family that we have high rates of anxiety and depression. And because mental health is often not talked about, or is often taboo to talk about, many people are not even feeling welcome to talk about it to their friends and family, right? And that makes us feel, emotionally unsupported and often misunderstood. And this will go to my third point, this is my anecdotal story. So this is not a thing that should be proven as, oh, this is why Gen Z are lonely, because of my story. So when I was in college, my freshman year, my grandfather has passed away during the morning of when I woke up for a college class that I had to took for history. And I didn't have really much friends because I was always constantly playing video games mindlessly, not having a balanced schedule with, work, life, and school. So it was really hard for me to make friends in class and in real life. And every friend group I ever had never really supported me. No one wants to bother even try to talk to me because they feel like I was someone that was completely shy or anxious because I wasn't extroverted. I'm so introverted to the point that I don't even know if I'm extroverted or introverted, because most of my life when I was a child, I was extroverted. I like talking to people. I like making new friends. I like talking to new people in my life. And we're now seeing people use ChatGPT to use it as a replacement for therapy. And I completely disagree with it, because people don't understand that AI is used to agree with you for the most part, and it doesn't understand most of the flaws of what you're feeling. So it's not really a replacement for humanity or people who are therapists or licensed psychologists. And I feel like I have regretted a lot of things in life, but I've realized that the regrets that I feel now is a fuel for me to do better, since I didn't have many friends to console my grandfather's passing, because I didn't have much friends to talk about, or I didn't come from a big family. I come from a small family with low to middle class income. So let's talk about what can we do to reduce loneliness. So my first point is normalizing conversations about loneliness and mental health. I researched a lot about mental health and why people don't talk about it. It's likely because it's a taboo. No one really likes talking about mental health, and it's always not a good thing to talk about because everyone feels uncomfortable about it or feels in a negative way, because you're being vulnerable to a person that is a stranger, and that stranger or friend will feel indifferent about it. And so this is why your conscious is like, you know what? Let's not talk about mental health. Let's just deal with this emotion by ourselves and not talk about it to any other people, and just cope away by playing video games, scroll on TikTok, and watching various types of online platforms. But I do want you guys to, encourage yourselves to talk to people in person, have a in-person connection with a person that you don't know, and talk to for a few seconds to say, hey, what's up? How's your day? and it doesn't have to be anything too long or too, just a brief short conversation. Introduce yourself, say, hey, my name's Danny, how are you? So there should be some boundaries that you should set aside for yourself for when you're using technology and talking to other people. So if you want to try this practice, try it in your real life. Try different ways to balance your life and not, just scroll on TikTok and look at your phone for 7 hours a day. So just try to live a nice, healthy balance that makes you happy and enjoyable without feeling lonely. Even like joining like clubs, volunteer groups, or interest-based groups or communities that you love, like doing like gaming, watching anime, or political conversations, or whatever that you enjoy. Make that as a group for a person that enjoys that, and make a hangout. Maybe that's the only way to find someone that you can connect to, and a different way to not feel lonely, right? And additionally, I would say try to reach out to others, right? You never know what the person is feeling. I feel like I have done this a lot, and it makes me feel a little bit better about myself because I'm not the only one who's dealing with all this baggage. So it would be nice if you would allow yourself to reach with others, and even when it feels uncomfortable, don't make it personal. Just make it seem it's not personal. It's more as something that you want to grow as a person. This is a growth mindset that I'm having. So, allow yourself to grow as a person. Don't always dwell on dwell on the bad things, and try to seek therapy or professional support when needed. As always, this video is not therapeutic or any way to replace therapy. This video is purely based on what I feel like, where we could reduce loneliness and what we can do to make this world a happier and peaceful life. So, yeah, that is it for me. In conclusion, Gen Z isn't feeling, you're not alone in this if you're feeling lonely. At the end of the day, we're all living for the first time in our lives, and we don't know how to handle our emotions. And at times, we're going to need people. There's a reason why humanity was built, and humanity was built on groups, societies, and communities that we all love and want to share with. And to recap, why we feel lonely is because we keep using our digital devices to replace face-to-face interactions, like talking to other people in real life. Additionally, we have mental health struggles that we can't really want to express. So, for example, mental health is always shunned from society. So that's why we always try to not and maintain ourselves from not talking to people about our vulnerabilities and, depression, anxiety, and there's a reason why we need to express ourselves, and society was built for that. We express ourselves by talking to people, and I feel like connection is something that we always need to improve on, and like making YouTube videos, making art, making something that is representative of you. And for me, I think my solution was to make YouTube content and try to make myself appear friendly as possible. So I want you guys to make yourself appear friendly. Don't take things personal when people reject you or anything like that, because at the end of the day, like I said, we all are living for the first time in our lives, and we don't need to take it personally. That's what I think. So anyway, if you guys enjoy this commentary, leave a like and leave your comments down below, excuse me, because I'm always reading your feedback into making high quality videos, like I said in the intro. And consider subscribing if you want more content like these, because it helps me a lot in the long run, because I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers and make this YouTube career as a thing, as a side gig, to make money, as well as try to build a portfolio about myself and change my life. And as always, don't be a loser, be a chooser, and don't take things personally. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.